Welcome along everyone to Sports Bits, a brand new week, and of course it means that Sports Bits has a brand new episode as well. We are absolutely pleased to have you back on the screens as we are working our way through all the big European fixtures. Big roundup we've got for you here on the show, and of course Arsenal fans in great mood as Manchester United couldn't quite take all 3 points at the Emirates. What about what's happening closer to home here in Nigeria? Or we'll touch base with Joseph Pesero and the NFF, who've finally found a way to come to terms and come to paper and to find a way forward as to how the team and the national setup would go going into the next round of African Cup of Nations qualifiers. We'll also touch base with what's happening in the NPFL. When does the league resume? I hear you asking. We've got all those questions or answers ready for you here on Sports Pizza. And of course, the US Opens is up and running. Novak Djokovic still in the race to retain another title. So lots to look forward to here on the show. We've got Nee standing by. As always, be a part of the show on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and of course on Instagram as well. The same handle at Sports Pizza for all your conversation. We'll take our first break. When we come back into the stories. Welcome back to Sports Pizza. My name is Yubi, and so it is a pleasure to have you join us on what is a fresh episode of the show. We're here every week, same time, same place, and you don't want to miss the biggest roundup of football, sporting events across the world for anything. Let's start off with introducing Falan Adeni, who's in the studio with me this morning. I mean, you're an Arsenal fan, so we're going to talk about that later, but let's start off with a story very close to home because it involves the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Speak to me about Joseph Pesero and the NFF. You know, it's been a back and forth for the last couple of months, almost not as messy as the Randy Waldrum scenario before the World Cup, but it kind of feels like they've come to terms now. He's taken a pay cut to his reported $70,000 a month salary, and he's been given the mandate to lead the team to the Africa Cup of Nations next year. What's that going to look like? You know, I hear semi-finals is the minimum requirements for next year's tournament. Is that all settled now?
Well, I think it's all settled. Once again, a pleasure to be on the show. And when you look at Joseph Pesero, you look at the NFF, he came in under the previous NFF chair president, talking about Maju Pinnick. And when the contract expired, we're seeing, some funny names, if I'm allowed to say that, Salisu Yusuf, Austin Egwavaya. I mean, we're yet to recover from the fact that we didn't go to the World Cup because a certain man, was in charge, then. And same man again coming back. I mean, I'm very happy that we are sticking with Joseph Pesero instead of going for Salisu Yusuf. I don't know how they keep getting their names mentioned when we're talking about the senior job of the Super. I mean, this is not a job that I should test. It's obvious that they are not good. I mean, with all due respect, very, very obvious that Salisu Yusuf is not good. Austin Egwavaya is not good. And then again, Finidi George, another name being thrown around. But I feel it's too early for us to be talking about Finidi George, to coach the Super Eagles. And I like the fact that Pesero is staying, even though we don't know the terms of his contract, except for the fact that we know he's going to take a reduced contract, as well as taking until the semi-final of the AFCON. I think that was where Genetro took us, the AFCON 2019, if I'm not mistaken, and he came third. So I think that's the minimum requirement from him. But then again, we have to ask ourselves the question: realistically, do you think the Super Eagles, they are a team in Africa that you should be expecting them to get to the semi-final of the AFCON? No disrespect to the Super Eagles, but when you look at the teams in Africa, and you look at the Super Eagles, I know we like deceiving ourselves that we have players that should be able to win. But when we're talking about having players, it's just our attacking players that are really, really playing good football. Yeah. Our midfield, our defense, they are just there. I mean, just average players, if I'm allowed to say that. So I think we need to be sincere with ourselves. Right. Semi-final, I feel it's a bit too much,
bit too on the high side, right? Yeah. Anyway, they popularly say shoot for the stars, or and if you don't meet the stars, you fall somewhere around that there. I guess that's what it actually amounts to. Anyway, let's pick up the pace here on Sports Pizza. Be a part of that conversation as far as the NFF. Are you happy actually that Joseph Pesero continues with the Super Eagles to the next year's Africa Cup of Nations? And what are the realistic targets you've got for the team going into that tournament? He's actually put out a 23-man squad going into the final qualification game which qualified already anyways.
Sure.
But against Sao Tome and Principe, and interesting names there as well. Usual suspects also on that particular list. Talk to me about the Nigerian Premier Football League and its resumption date. September 9th is the date that has been put out there. We've got fixtures done already. The strategic partners of the league, the GTI, have said, look, we're unveiling a new title sponsor. The league hasn't had a title sponsor in quite some time. I think Glow were the last title sponsors. I think go back to 2009, something like that. But of course, we're hearing title sponsor now locked in. It's just final modalities being agreed upon.
Yeah.
Prize money up from 100 million naira to 150 million naira, which is still a meager sum. But are you excited about the league starting this season?
Yeah.
I thought last year the Super Six out there in Lagos, Al Nikon Stadium, created a real climax. Can they pick up from there then?
I think they can do that, and I like the fact that they now know that you need to engage fans if you really want your football to thrive, and that is what we are doing right now. And I'm very sure they saw maybe you might know what they call it, big success, but the success of the Super Six, both for the MPFL and of course the promotion tournament itself, that happened, and of course Sporting Lagos getting promotion to the MPFL, and I think they understand that the fans really want to connect with our football.
Right.
They know that already. So it's just for them to create an enabling environment for that to happen. And how can you do that? Make sure we see the game. And of course, there's a report that games will be streamed on a mobile on an app. I'm looking forward to that. I'm really looking forward to that.
Is that a better solution as opposed to having it on real terrestrial or cable TV? Because we speak about streaming all the time, and it's a pretty much on trend term, in the modern day, online digital platforms, streaming, all that stuff, downloads. But how feasible and how sustainable is that in the short and long term? Obviously, data penetration is a lot better in Nigeria nowadays, but when you speak about streaming, you've got to have a very high-end mobile phone to do that, right? And you've got to have a lot of data, and data is not cheap, right? So, as things stand, that doesn't seem like a real viable option. The Super Six was, up on, cable TV. So how does this all pan out? It's almost as if we're taking one step forward and, a couple backwards.
No, I don't think we're taking a step backward right now. I think we're actually moving forward in the right direction, because TV is quite expensive, and you will agree with me that TV is expensive. And I think the TV, owners, they are kind of skeptical now about, taking chance on the league. So when we see the success of the streaming platform, I won't be surprised even before we get to midway into the season. The TV people might actually say, okay, I think we like what we're seeing right now, so we can actually put our money on this. It's very, very expensive to have your program on TV. So,
speaking of expenses, right? So it's pretty much a tit for tat, right? Expensive for the producer. Expensive for the consumers.
Definitely.
If you go to streaming, it is expensive for the consumers.
Yeah.
If you go to the producers, the owners of the league, it is expensive. So expense is going to happen regardless. I'm just worried that you're passing on the expense to the consumers for products that you still need them to, to watch. I think that if you put the scale, the league management company or the interim management company need to do more for the consumer to see the product.
Definitely.
As opposed to the other way around. Anyway, conversation for another day. Definitely a conversation that you might want to have. Would you go ahead and be a part of the show on social media, X nowadays, as opposed to Twitter at SportsPizza. And of course, if you want to send us a message, you can actually send a message to the mobile numbers on the screens or the email address there for your reactions, feedbacks. And of course, if you've got sponsorship plans as well, how about you reach out to us on all of that. Right then, so Nihi, we walked our way through the stories here. It's also important to mention that the FIBA team have qualified to the Olympics, the women's team. So great stuff there, and of course the
women are giving us joy.
Women continue to give us great joy as far as Nigerian sports go. Right, so let's take another break on the show because we are done with the home base and everything related to Nigerian sports, football, basketball, and whatnot. When we cross over to the other side, it's all about European recap. What a compelling weekend of football it was in the Premier League, La Liga, Ligue 1, Syria, and of course the German Bundesliga as well. And we were quite in the right place to watch all the action, just to report for you here on live TV this great episode of Sports Pizza. It is an absolute pleasure to always have you here for every single bit of Sports Pizza's conversations, from football, basketball, tennis, F1, and all of that. We've got you covered here on the show. My name is Yubi, and so I'm joined by Falan Adeni, who's always present in the studio for a nice conversation on any given day. Let's start off with the Premier League, because we saw quite a compelling set of fixtures. First of all, we started off on Saturday with lots of goals. Man City scoring 5, as well as Tottenham Hotspur as well, who are having a new lease of life in many regards. So keep your eye on the top scorer Golden Boots race this season once more. But let's get to that Arsenal-Manchester United fixture. 3-1 final score, 2 goals at the death of it. United scored first, obviously. Arsenal equalized just a minute after, almost from the restart. United, scored a goal which was ruled off offside. Arsenal, get a goal off the back of a set piece, courtesy of Declan Rice. Then United go try and make the equalizer. Arsenal countered the devastating effect, and Gabriel Jesus wraps up the day and sends the fan into pandemonium. So that's the tail of the tape in many regards. Right, so let's, pick the bones from the meat itself. Arsenal get a penalty at the start. I think at 1-1. There's a penalty given to Arsenal. Kai Havertz makes contact with Wan-Bissaka. What's your take on that?
Yeah, I think a good call from the referee. That was never a penalty, and I like the fact that the VR was there to correct that. So I think that was the right call. That was the right call from the referee.
Right call from the referee there. So of course the game progresses. Arsenal keep piling the pressure, want to score a goal. United, of course, playing on the counter. Then it gets into the 80-plus minutes. Gets to the 89th minute. United get a goal courtesy of the kid from Argentina, who's got a new number on the back of his shirt, number 17, which incredibly is the number Ronaldo wore when he first joined Manchester United. He's a big United Ronaldo fan anyway. Scratch that, he scores a goal, ruled out for offside by the video assistant referee. Now, the first angle that is shown by the VAR is quite not clear that it's an offside. They switch different angles, find a fourth angle, and the red line comes across the screen, which tells everybody what we already know: offside call. What is your take on that?
Well, I also feel it's the right call from the referee and VR for that. But my problem with that is, Arsene Wenger was trying to move a notion that if any part of your body that you can't score with, it's in an offside position. I mean, it shouldn't be ruled out as an offside. It shouldn't be given as an offside.
So basically, any part of your body,
which is obviously the hand. The hand,
definitely.
You can't score. I mean, as outfield player,
right.
The goalkeeper, they're the only ones not allowed to use the hand. Even they have an area they can do that. And I think that is the next move. Now that should be the next call. Or obviously, I can't score with my hand.
Right.
So it shouldn't be judged as an offside, as an offside thing.
What about what we saw at the World Cup in Qatar, the semi-automated offside? The balls have the device inside the balls, and I mean, we didn't quite see any controversies or any major controversies from offside. It almost feels like it's almost a marketing tool as well. The Premier League is the controversy. They say bad press is good press.
Exactly.
Any press is good press.
Exactly.
Look, the game itself, how much does this take away from the game? Is every week there's a major call, there's a contestable call. On the balance of it all, do these things even out over the course of the season?
I think they do. I mean, the match they won, United against Wolverhampton at Old Trafford, another referee would have given that on-honor clash with the Wolves player as a penalty, and another that particular didn't give it. Then a week later, it generated a lot of controversy for the entirety of the week. Then on Saturday, United against Tottenham Hotspur. That's obvious handball from Tottenham Hotspur that wasn't given to United, and fans another controversy came up conversation again that
Right.
they try to even it out. You know, the penalty they didn't award against United, now they decided to award them this one, you know, in their favor.
Right.
So I think the Premier League, you know, thrives on controversy. That gives them enough conversations. You know, people will keep talking about it till going into the international break, even after the international break. So I think it's a deliberate, even though it's not good, it looks deliberate to me.
Well, of course, Man City are pretty much the only team in the Premier League with a 100% record. Tottenham Hotspur, interestingly, starting the season really well, second position. Well, Liverpool in third position, courtesy of that win against Aston Villa, and West Ham United also, after battling relegation or close to battling relegation last year, find themselves in the top four. Arsenal just slightly out of the top five, or the top four rather, on goal difference. United, courtesy of that loss, stay in 11th place. That's 2 wins and 2 losses in United's opening 4 games. So let's touch base with Chelsea, who have picked up just the 1 win all season. 1-0 loss to Nottingham Forest. Taiwo Awoniyi's dear Nottingham Forest. A goal scored by a former United player in Anthony Elanga. And Chelsea, it looks as if though it will take some time for this project to kickstart now.
I can tell you for free that nothing good will come out of Chelsea this season, and this is me being objective. You know, you can't buy and keep buying. You know, and if it doesn't work, you push them out, bring in new set of players. I don't think they are going to give Mauricio Pochettino the time, you know, to actually, you know, work with these boys. And I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know what they are going to do. But I know someone somewhere is lurking, you know, behind the scene, ready to take over, and that's Frank Lampard. I mean, but I won't be surprised. November ending, December ending, first week in December, it starts.
Right.
I mean, you need to see Chelsea's fixtures, you know, October, November, December.
Right.
They played all the top 6 teams, you know, in the space of 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Lampard will definitely take over at some point.
Right.
I'm very sure. I'm very, very sure of that.
Well, let's just pull up Chelsea's next couple of fixtures. Well, the Chelsea travel to Bournemouth after the international break. That'll be an interesting game to look forward to. Next up, they're at home to Aston Villa, who lost to Liverpool just at the weekend. Then, of course, they've got an EFL Cup game with Brighton and Hove Albion, albeit at the Bridge, pretty much at home. Then, of course, they travel to London. Of course, they're in London, but of course, they make the trip down the S16 to Fulham, and there's Burnley. So I've got to say, the next couple of fixtures are good. What happens in November, rather, is where the crux of the matter lies. Anyway, let's scratch Chelsea. Let's move away from that. Chelsea currently find themselves not in a great place on the table, currently sitting at 12th on
They're
the
used
table.
to that.
I'll tell you, United, you know,
Chelsea are used to 12. They're used to 12.
Anyway, let's get away from Chelsea. Let's touch base in Spain now, shall we? Because interesting scenes there. And this kid, Jude Bellingham, already writing himself into Real Madrid folklore. Real Madrid struggled so badly in that game, eventually winning the game by 2-1 against Getafe. Getafe are quickly building themselves a reputation for a boogie team, not just for Barcelona, but now
Real Madrid
for Real Madrid as well. Talk to me about how that game panned out, and this kid Bellingham, you know, how good can he be? You know, Ballon d'Or potential, what can he be?
Maybe if it continues, you know, at this rate, you know, you probably not rule him out. Maybe not for 2023, but maybe for 2024, because 2023 looks to be between Lionel Messi and Erling Haaland. So maybe for 2024.
Who's going to win that though?
My smart money is on Haaland to win it.
Right.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
He has adapted quickly to his environment, and he is assuming the role of a leader in the team at a very, very young age. I mean, 5 goals in 4 games, 3 man of the match award for him, and it's a very, very, very good one. It shows that he's really at home, you know, in Real Madrid.
Well, Barcelona are never far away when you speak about Real Madrid winning 2-1 themselves against Osasuna. Goals courtesy of Jules Koundé and I think Ferran Torres, if I'm not mistaken, in that particular game. So congrats to both teams. Lewandowski actually getting his first goal of the season, and you hope that he is finally up and running. Of course, Real Madrid continue to top the table there with a 100% record in Spain. Girona in second place, and Barcelona, courtesy of that draw at the start of the season, find themselves in third place. Atletico Madrid with a massive win the weekend, 7-1 over Rayo Vallecano in fourth place. Anyway, let's crash that because we're pretty much exhausted for our time. But of course, Kylian Mbappe got a goal in PSG's game in Ligue 1. They got a win there, and of course, Harry Kane not quite up to speed at Bayern Munich yet. We'll see how all of that pans out. But we've got to leave you with what was an incredible play just this last weekend, and it has to be between United and Arsenal, or Arsenal United, and it's got to be that third goal where Gabriel Jesus silences United's advantage and makes sure that Arsenal goes home with all 3 points as if they were ever in doubt. Lee, I want to thank you very much for being on the show today. We will see you, Sports Pizza fans, next week, same time, same place. From all of us here in the studio, have a great week. Enjoy the rest of it. Enjoy the play of the week. Bye-bye.